Talking sports, Nooner and Forest back for another week of, well, basically college football, NFL, college basketball, whatever. There's all kinds of sports playing right now, except for baseball, which we're fine with right now. Eventually, baseball will be put in the mix, and which will be coming up very, very quickly, which is weird because it seems like we just ended baseball.
65 days till baseball, college
Yeah,
baseball, at least.
that's too short. Why in the world we spreading? We got to spread this stuff out quite a bit, especially when the World Series ended in October. I mean,
Yeah,
they only get like a 3 or 4 month break and then they're right back in it. But it just, to me, it seems like the off season for baseball is shorter than it is for football and
yeah.
basketball. But they have the same amount of time off. I think I could be wrong.
It seems that way. I know this much for high school. I think I got games already set up for late February. I believe my first game is. So
Strictly softball this year, aren't you? Or are you doing baseball too?
I'm gonna do softball as well. I think I start that in March, but yeah, I'll probably still do a few baseball games, but mostly this year is gonna be softball. So I'm looking forward to that.
So definitely, definitely good. All right. So before we get started, got to give a shout out. My students figured out that we had a podcast, my man. They figured out we had one.
I
So
love. Oh, good.
I'm not going to mention this certain individual, but I blame him over everybody, and I'll let him know about it later. 'Cause I'm not going to mention their names on the podcast or anything like that because that's just no, I'm not going to do that. But one of them was on YouTube, searched my name, and found our podcast. And, and the one question I've gotten besides, oh, you have a podcast or, something like that. Because now every student in the school knows that I have a podcast or that we have a podcast. Anyway, so what question I get, who's Forrest? So that's the one question that I'm getting. And so that's just the thing. It's like Forrest is Forrest. He is, that was his nickname through college and it's just stuck with him through college.
So what I should do is one day when you have a practice, just walk in there and just say, "Hey, I'm Forrest."
That's a great idea, actually. That's a very great idea. I'm glad you came up with that idea because I was just going to say show up to a random game one day, but that's even
Why don't you?
better. Show up to a random practice, then a game that night. That'd be perfect. But I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to think of my road games because our junior high conference is different from the senior high conference.
Right.
I mean, I already know that you're going to come watch us when we play Lakeside at Lakeside, which
Yeah.
we actually have Lakeside at home next Tuesday for senior high. And oh gosh, we had an El Dorado trip last night. That was fun. I got back way late.
I gotta tell you something. I know this is probably recording, but I'm glad that I did not get asked to scout Lakeside only because my wife works with Coach Lamb, who's the head basketball coach for the senior
Don't
high's wife.
care. Listen. I want you to get some. I know about Coach Eddie Lamb, man. I know about
Great
him, man.
guy, great guy,
He is a terrific guy.
great
I
guy.
love Eddie to death, man. Me and Eddie.
Yeah,
I don't know if Eddie would remember me from way back when I'd met him and the few times that I've been around him. But
yeah,
him and my coach were good friends. Him
yeah.
actually both of my coaches, my junior high coach and my senior high coach, they were
There you
all good
go.
friends. And so he is a really really good dude. I already know what he's going to do. That's the thing. I already know what he's going to do because
Yes,
I played against him when he was at Jessieville. So I
there you
mean,
go.
I already know that. But either way,
Yeah,
so your wife works with him?
my wife works with his wife.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know his wife.
So his wife is like a occupational therapist, and my wife
Oh,
is working with a nonverbal autistic kid. That's what she's doing one on one right now.
okay.
And so that's she got just got hired to do that a couple weeks ago, and his wife came in there and started talking and said, "Yeah, I am Coach Lamb's." Because matter of fact, she said, "Why ain't your husband reffing basketball?" And Emily said, "He just can't. It's a busy part of the year for him being a pastor." And she goes, "Oh yeah, that's very true." But yeah, that's another interesting story. So another connection right there for me at Lakeside. But yeah, she works with Fountain Lake kids and Jessieville kids. His wife does.
Okay. Good dude. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I said, I'm really excited that he's at Lakeside. I know he's been at Lakeside for a few years now, but I always remember his time at Jessieville.
Yeah.
And so and of course he has
Yeah.
the all-time win at Jessieville, and
He does. He
Unless they
does.
unless they get a coach that was there as long as he is, I don't think it'll ever be broken. We'll probably go,
No,
it'll probably be years and years down the road before that ever gets broken, if it ever does. Because the way coaches move these days, it's just different.
yeah, it does. It is. It is.
So
And yeah, I think. But no, I got the privilege of meeting Coach Lamb early in football season because we always dressed out in his office when we were at the football games there at Lakeside, and it was the Friday night with Lakeside versus Sheridan. I got to meet Coach Lamb, and of course, I know their junior high coach Blake Ward. I graduated with him, so so connection all the way around.
yeah, so my students know that I have a podcast now, and
Mm.
like I said, I think the closest we come to you is technically Sheridan. If I had to take that, see how far are you from Little Rock?
Uh, about probably a little under an hour, probably about an hour. Just say an
Is
hour.
that? So I think Sheridan's a little under an hour from you.
Probably so. Yeah.
I think that's the closest we come to you because, like I said, our conference is totally different than
Right.
what it is because we're
Right.
mostly around Little Rock and I mean, and then Sheridan. I think then of course
But
we do go to Sylvan Hills, which is in Sherwood, which is in your
my
wife's
mother-in-law,
your mother-in-law's neck of the woods. So I mean, it's
yeah.
I'm just saying like a general. I think yeah, I just
I
think
have to figure it out.
well, like I said, have I sent you a schedule?
You may have, but
I'll resend it to you just in
yeah,
case. Yeah,
yeah.
just in case. So yeah. Yeah, so yeah, we got a rival tomorrow night. We got Sheridan tomorrow night. Hopefully by the time this podcast is being heard, is hopefully we'll have a win. We better have a win. Goodness gracious. Anyways, so a lot to discuss. We're going to try to keep this as short as possible because it's late for
A
both
lot
of us.
happened today.
But a lot happened. A lot going on. We got a coaching carousel. We got coaching changes going on everywhere right now, which which is the season. I just want to go ahead and put this for the note, so that way we don't have to have a long discussion about this. Brad, Arkansas playing Texas Tech at the Liberty Bowl. Nobody cares. We're moving on. So, so
well,
I'm just gonna
he-
say that I don't care.
well.
I'm done.
Let me put
Done.
this in perspective. So Marshall decides not to re-sign their coach. That's why he moved on to USM. He wins the Sun Belt for Marshall, by the way, too. Marshall wins the Sun Belt Conference, by the way, as well. He moves on, and the whole team enters the transfer portal. We keep our coach, and pretty much our whole team decides to enter the transfer portal. So, and by the way, we're ranked number one in the SEC with most players in the transfer portal. So, congratulations with Arkansas. We're number one at something. And also shout out to the Arkansas basketball team. A much needed win for I'm not just talking about basketball program. I'm talking about for the athletic program right now because it's been nothing but bad news here recently. So we needed something good.
Big lead, but they also gave up a big lead. So that was I
Right.
thought they were going to run away with it after that. But no, we were actually at McDonald's last night in El Dorado after the ball game. I was with one of the other assistant coaches. We were watching it, and then finally when they put it away, we just put a sigh of relief, and then we just started talking about whatever else on the way home. But I mean, yeah, you're right though. That's a huge win for us. Um, I mean, don't get me wrong. We did have the huge win at Tennessee for football. But I just think the biggest thing now, one thing I will defend on this one, Brad, as far as players in the transfer portal and everything like that, the ones who are the most, as you've seen, some of the ones from Arkansas and on down are the terrible teams in the conference. There's not a whole lot of really, really good teams who are losing a ton of players, kind of like how we are. So
Right.
I will defend that much. I just think a lot of it has to do with the philosophy on where they fit in. Braylon Russell, for example, from my understanding, was one of those. He was in the transfer portal the same, and then the same exact day he's staying, and so hopefully that stays the
He
same because
released a
he's
statement saying he was going to enter the transfer portal.
and I think someone talks some sense into him. So I just
Yeah.
think the reason we're seeing so much going on right now is just that they don't know who's going, who's staying. You have Bob Petrino, who's been rumored for head coaching jobs, which, from my understanding now, I don't think he's rumored for any more right now. At least from my understanding, their D
Travis
court
Williams would be the one that if anybody
Travis Williams
moves.
is going to be exactly. He may be the one to move, but I kind of hope he doesn't. Just for the simple
Right.
fact is that as good as his defense as good as his defense was this year, they had a chance to be pretty special next year. And
They
right
do.
now, and depending on who goes and who stays at this point, because you and I both know things are going to change like crazy. They may get in the portal and be like, you know what? a lot of them are going to have to go to lesser programs. They're not going to be able to go to these big time programs because a lot of the big time programs are keeping their players. It's the small ones like Southern Miss and Marshall's going to need the players. Marshall's going to need a whole entire new team. You might as well sign them up to be dead last next year in the Sun Belt at this point. Hopefully not the case. But why
Yeah.
would you not want to re-sign the Marshall? That dude, it's Marshall. He won the conference championship for
Hey, he
crying
beat
out
Notre
loud.
Dame like last year or year before. He went to
I
Notre
think it
Dame
was
and
your.
beat
I
him.
think it was here before. I'd have to look
Yeah,
that up and see.
it was sometime though. I mean, still. Uh,
Absolutely. It's
I
ridiculous. Bunch of DAs.
yeah, I just say this about Arkansas. The problem though with Arkansas is, they talk about we're going to fill these holes, and we're going to have more money next year with the revenue sharing, and plus NIL. But the problem is when you're having to replace not only the needs that you already had before the players transferred, now you're all of a sudden you're having to replace pretty much a whole offense or a whole defense. And that's what's is mind boggling with Arkansas. There's something going on that every year we're dealing with a whole bunch of transfers. I mean, I know money is one of the issues. I mean, I know that, but at the same time, you gotta think that some of the philosophy in that locker room right now that there's some issues. And Ricky, I'm glad we're kind of talking about this. We're the schedule for this.
Bring that
Um,
up. Bring that up. I want to see. I want to hear about this one.
so Arkansas schedule. So I'm bringing it up real quick. Football schedule 2025. Let me look at it real quick. Yeah, 2025. So get this. So week 1 is Alabama A&M, which that's a win.
Win.
Week 2 is Arkansas State in Little Rock.
That's not a guarantee.
As I guarantee. Oh, look at week 3. We go to Ole Miss.
Let
Week 4 at Memphis. Week 5.
me ask you this:
Yeah.
Is Jackson Dart going to the draft?
Supposedly, yes, but
Is
there
it? Is it?
hasn't been a compare. I think
Because
he's.
if he goes to the draft, we have a chance to beat Ole Miss.
We have a chance,
We won't
but
beat him we won't beat Ole Miss if he stays. I'm telling you right now, we're not going to beat Ole Miss if he stays. It's not going to happen.
well,
We,
we go Ole Miss, we go to Memphis, and we get Notre Dame. That's all before October.
we could be 1-4.
We
We
yeah
could be 1-4.
yeah we could be 1-4. That's why I brought up the issue. What could Sam Pittman actually be fired before October of
Now,
next year?
here's the shout out. I'll shout out Butch Jones because I'm gonna tell you right now,
He deserved it.
he deserved it. Let's put that down clean slate right now. He fully deserved what he got. He through 2029
Oh,
fully deserved it.
let me finish
What
this real quick. The
hang on
schedule.
1 second though because
Okay.
because I have a point I need to make.
Okay.
So I just wanted to shout that out real quick, and I also want to say this: Butch Jones has an opportunity to beat Arkansas next year, especially if Arkansas's roster is being completely depleted, because Arkansas State is getting better. They were
They
better
are.
this year. Now, I'm not going to say they were overall better this year because I think there were areas that they were better last year than what they were this year.
I think
But the
offensively they were better last year than this year.
but
I would say
here's
that.
the thing though, Brad, and we could go back to episode last year. There was a time last year, and I think at the beginning of this year where we said Butch Jones could be away from Arkansas State before too long because he wasn't producing results. He had a couple losing
Mhm.
records, and then these last couple of years he's turned it around. And this year, what did he win? What they go 7-5 or 8-4? I can't remember.
7-5. They lost to Old Dominion in a close one at the end.
So I thought, okay, for some reason I thought they beat Old Dominion. I
Yeah.
didn't really pay close attention that much, but even then, it's a neutral site game, which
Yeah.
historically Arkansas does not play well at neutral site games. Now, when we played LSU, we did when we were in Little Rock, but when we had big games, we played well. Small teams, we have not necessarily played well. That's not a guaranteed win. Memphis is going to be good again next year. I don't know if anybody else knows this, but Memphis is going to be good again next year. We could go
Yep.
1-4 in the first 5 games next year, Brad. There's no guarantee win in the first 5 games except for Alabama A&M. We could play the fourth string and the water boy to beat Alabama and A&M.
Okay, so here's the rest of the schedule. So after the bye week on the 4th of October, we go
That's going
to
to be much needed.
we're gonna go at Tennessee after the bye week.
Oh boy,
Then we get Texas A&M at home. We get Auburn at home. We get Mississippi State at home. Then there's another bye week on November 8th. Oh, look at the finishing schedule. At LSU, at Texas, then Missouri at home to finish the season.
Proper schedules in the entire country. I don't know what is.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, because and this is the reason why I was for letting Sam Pittman go this year, because at least with a first year coach, you can make the argument, okay, he had a tough schedule, he's building his brand, he's doing all these different things, unless he had a season like Morris did. I mean, other than that, I mean that would be the only reason why you could say, hey, he deserves another year. Hey, he needs some time. But my thing is, Ricky, this is a very difficult schedule, and to be honest with you, way Hunter Yurachek is communicate right now, he has alienated the Arkansas fans. Let's just admit it. He has alienated the Arkansas fans mostly, and the way Hunter Yurachek has been with no communication at all through the. I mean, here's the thing, Ricky. During the teleconference, Sam Pittman was asked by Trey Biddy about what the roster will look like going to the Liberty Bowl. Sam Pittman was about ready to answer that question, and then all of a sudden the Liberty Bowl representative said, no, he can't answer that question." That's a fair question, Ricky. That's a fair question that was asked by a reporter. And now I don't know if it was the Liberty Bowl representative trying to concentrate on just the Liberty Bowl, or it was instructed that Sam Pittman was not going to answer any questions about the roster or anything like that. But we need some answers. Arkansas fans deserve some answers and deserve what's the plan? What's the darn plan going forward? What do we expect for next year? We hadn't heard nothing since the end of the season. We have not heard anything except for this teleconference from Sam Pittman, but we haven't heard anything from Hunter Yurachek. So to me, right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, I'm listening to the fans from Northwest Arkansas, because I get the radio station hit that line, to also the fans in Little Rock, because I get a little bit of the buzz too. Fans right now are dissatisfied with the state of the program.
I think a lot of it with them being quiet. Now we're getting is media attention right now. It's nothing. Usually they say silence is golden, but silence can also be a very, very bad thing.
Yes, it can be.
It's especially when you have the support of the state, and that's the thing with Hunter Yurachek. I don't know what his game is right now. I'm not going to sit here and speculate what's going on, but I will say this much. I've said it many, many times. He figured every sport out but football.
Yes, I agree.
And let's be honest. When Sam Pittman was first hired, we started competing again, and then he had that really good season. It's like, okay, maybe he did figure something out. And then we started learning real quick. Maybe not so much. Now, one thing I will defend Sam Pittman on is this: coordinators move on. Coordinators move on. That's going to happen. But when recruiting starts getting affected, because the recruiters, from my understanding, the coordinators have a lot more push on recruiting, more necessary so than what the head coaching does, because they're the ones that really build that relationship up. Because the head coach is more of a CEO type thing. He's building all kinds of stuff that's surrounding the entire program and everything like that. So, but it's like I said before too, Brad. And state recruits are going elsewhere. They're not staying in Arkansas, which is a huge problem. And that's one of the reasons. That's one of the many reasons why we fired Jeff Long and Brett Bielema basically at the same time. Jeff Long was fired one week. Brett Bielema was fired on the field the very next week. So I'm just saying. So it's one of those situations that's very, very rough, and we may not get answers for quite a while. But all right,
no, you're exact. No, I mean, just real quick, you're exactly right, and I think that's why Arkansas is just hungry for something, because number one, Arkansas needs some hope for the next season. And right now, what Arkansas fans are seeing is more despair. Like, how is this going to get any better than it was this year? And plus, if you really want these donations, you want this money that you're hurting for, communicate. I mean, that's the best way to do it. Communicate with the fan base. Tell them we got a plan and everything's going to be fine. But just communicate with the fan base. That's all they're asking for. So that's just what I was just want to add.
Well, that we're asking for communication, but they're asking for money. There's two totally different. That's
Well, well, if you're going to get
that's
money,
well, that's the only thing they're not being silent about. That's for
yeah.
sure.
Well, yeah,
It's
but problem is though, if you really want money, you need to give the fans hope why that their money's going to be worth the investment. Because right now, if I'm looking at it, why would I want to donate my money when I'm not getting any return for my investment?
exactly. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to college football playoff. The bracket has been set. The
Yes.
committee has spoken. Um, and of course, I do have a DA with the committee here in a little bit. Not on what you think it might be, but something was released today that I thought was very, very interesting. And so there's going to be a DA of the week from this committee toward the end of the show, as we always do. All right, so the committee spoken. So here we go. Oh, let me get back to where I was at. Okay, so here we go. The first four buys, 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds respectively. We got Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, Arizona State, which we kind of expected that. Um, on the outside looking in, the 5 seed. Oh gosh, let me make sure I'm getting this right. Texas is the 5 seed. They will host number 12, the winner of the ACC, Clemson. Then you have the 6 seeded Penn State against 11 seeded SMU, who was the last team in. Then you have the 8 seed Ohio State
Yes.
hosting Tennessee at the 9 seed, and then you have Notre Dame at the 7 hosting Indiana, the number 10 seed. So like I said, the playoff bracket is set. Um, just off the top of my head, I want to go ahead and state this so that way there is no confusion. Alabama did not get screwed. I want people to
No,
understand
I
that
agree.
wholeheartedly right now. If you think Alabama got screwed, you might want to go back and look at some of the games that they played.
And your
It,
DA.
and then determine whether or not they got screwed. No, they screwed themselves because they lost to a terrible Oklahoma team, an Oklahoma team that didn't make a bowl game until they beat Alabama. Let that sink in for a moment. So anyway,
Beat about 21.
beat them by 21, 24-3, 24-3. You scored 3 points against Oklahoma. I mean, come on, people, that's terrible. Arkansas would have scored more than 3 points against Oklahoma. I'm just stating fact.
I agree with that.
So, all right, so I'll state that number one. Number two, um, this has got to be the most ridiculous seating I've ever seen in my entire life. Uh,
Agree.
so, oh my gosh, I understand how they're doing this. Like, I really do. I get it. But this is high school stuff. High schools across like the state of Arkansas, for example, you're based off where you finish at in your conference. I think in this case, you need to finish off based on where you're ranked in the college football playoff, like the college
Agree.
football playoff, the playoff rankings. I'm all for putting conference champions in. I'm all for that because I think you have to have some kind of reward for your conference champion. But I don't think that you should have Ohio State, Tennessee as 8 and 9 seed having to go up against Oregon, who is supposed to have the most rewarding seed, and they have
Yep.
the toughest road of all
Uh,
4 seeds. Of all top 4 seeds, they have the toughest road of all of them, and it makes no sense to me whatsoever.
and
But
Penn State or SMU even could have the easiest road.
yes, yes, exactly. And so I'm sitting here looking at this bracket, Brad. So like I said, let's kind of dive into this. We're not going to go round by round yet. We're going to wait till next week to do that. But um, Brad, is there a team here? I'm not talking. No, I'm not talking about Oregon because Oregon is probably one of the most favorite, probably heavy favored them in Georgia. Um, but is there any team here that you could see? I may could they make a run and actually win this entire thing? What I would call the dark horse or someone or something like that. Is there anybody here that you see, any team here that you see that could possibly run the table?
I really like Notre Dame. I'll be honest with you. I like Notre Dame because they're a very physical football team. Yes, I understand they lost to Northern Illinois early in the season, but after that Northern Illinois game, they turned it up another notch and they dominate the rest of the season. Now I understand they didn't play anybody, but if you watch that team, how they were physically imposing even to A&M, they've been physically imposing to just about every team they played this year. And I mean, the only problem Notre Dame is they're going to have to go against Georgia in the second round if they get past Indiana. I mean, that's the challenge. But if there's a dark horse, I say nobody's talking about that could make a run, Notre Dame would be my pick right now because I am very impressed with the physicality that they do have, especially with their offensive line. I think they're a very physical team, and I think they could. I think they could match up with Georgia physically on the offensive line. It's just going to be a question. I think it's just a question to me is um, big game experience. Now the experience is going to be on Georgia's side compared to Notre Dame, but I think physically this team is capable of matching up against them, and their defense can be a little bit of a question mark too, a little bit. But other than that, I see Notre Dame personally as a dark horse. But if there's another one that is a dark horse because of the road they have, I think the winner of Penn State and SMU, they got a pretty easy road going forward in this college football playoff.
You took mine, you jerk. I was going to say Notre Dame too,
Yeah.
for all the same reasons you said. But here's the big thing though, Brad. Carson Beck's out. They're
Yes.
not. Carson Beck is a huge difference maker for that Georgia offense because he is the experienced quarterback that they need. I can't remember their backup's name that's going to start or whatever, but I'm sure they're going to start.
He did decent in the SEC championship game. And they're going to have a few weeks to prepare with him. So I think, it might cancel that out a little bit. So,
By the way, it's a playoff and it's two power teams and everything like that, especially historically. But yes, and here's the thing though, Brad, and I always wondered this because I really believe if there's any time that needs to happen, Notre Dame needs to join a conference now. It's
yeah,
time.
I agree.
It's time because here's the thing: had they gone undefeated, Brad, they could have taken one of the top four seats. But according to the rules, they're not supposed to because it has to be a
Right.
conference champion. And
Right.
so I think now more than ever, this is the time they need to join a conference. They need to do it now, like quickly, like next year. I don't care what fees they have to pay. Let them in for free for all I care. I don't care.
Well,
But
they wouldn't really have to pay any fees because they're independent. The only thing they would be losing is be the TV rights deal with NBC, which exclusively broadcast Notre Dame home games. That would be the.
work that out though.
I bet NBC would work out a deal with the ACC to continue with Notre Dame games. I think there's a way you could do it.
Ace, hang on though. ACC though, they're with ABC, right? For the most part.
ACC's ABC, CW,
And ESPN, of course, because
yeah,
they're all the
ACC
same.
net. They got the
I'm
ACC network.
I'm sure they could work something out. The NFL does, for crying out loud. I'm sure they can work
Oh,
something out.
well, they just make it complicated, more complicated because I know NBC has an exclusive contract with the Big Ten. That's their exclusive, and then it's Notre Dame as well because Notre Dame being independent. But I bet if Notre Dame says, "Hey, we'll join the ACC only if we could keep our NBC TV deal," I almost guarantee the ACC would make that work somehow, some way because of all the bleeding they've had. And plus, the other option would be Notre Dame to join the Big Ten, which that would be crazy. Yeah, because they do have a contract with NBC to broadcast their games.
So it would make sense. So yeah, you took mine, but I have a second dark horse too, and they're a top four seed, and that's Arizona State.
Yeah,
I
I
don't,
like yours.
Arizona State's playing good football right now, and like I said, I may not be thrilled with the way the seating is, but look at Arizona. Arizona State has to play the winner of Texas and Clemson, which is most likely going to be Texas. Let's be honest. Texas is the favorite in that game, and I'm most likely going to pick Texas to win. Now, this is where this is kind of where Texas comes into play because Texas has actually struggled against. They've actually struggled for the most part of the season. They've had a few games that were blowouts, but They also had games that were very, very close. It should not have been close. They played a close game against Arkansas. 2 more minutes on the clock. They would have lost to Vanderbilt.
Yep.
And so when I look at this, I look at this Arizona State team. Arizona State is in a situation that's very, very scary. They're really, really good, and they have nothing to lose. And when you have nothing to lose, and you're a good team like Arizona State, anything can happen. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, and then they would probably have to face the winner of Oregon and whoever wins between Ohio State, Tennessee. I still haven't decided who I'm going to pick yet, which we'll get to that part next week. And so, but we'll see. Like I said, though, it could be a very, very interesting playoff. And don't sleep on Boise State. Ashton Jennings, the best running back in the
Yeah,
country,
absolutely. And
has a
they
chance has a chance to break that record now.
and Oregon had to kick a game-winning field goal to beat Boise State at home
Yeah,
to win that game. So my next question for you, this is kind of playoff related, but it's Ohio State related. So how far does Ryan Day have to get to save his job?
I think he has to win it. I think it's either win
Mm,
it or come darn close. Because why? Here's the thing: Ryan Day is in a lose-lose situation in some way, and I want people to understand something. Because I talk to Ohio State fan. There's an Ohio State fan on a terrible football show that I talk with constantly. And one of
yeah.
the things in their contract is, and Michigan's contract is the exact same. You have to win the big game, and everybody knows what the big game is. It's Ohio State versus Michigan. And now he's 1-4 with 4 straight losses to Michigan. Two of them I understand, and I'm sure the university would understand because they were more talented in 2 of those 4 years. But the first year and this past year, Ohio State should have won very, very easily, and it didn't happen. Especially this year. This year, I was shocked. The first year I
Well,
wasn't as shocked, but yeah. But here's the thing though. They have ever since Urban Meyer won that one national title, they've been to one title game, I think, and they got beat. They've been to the
Ryan Day,
they,
yeah,
they've
Ryan
been
Day's
to the
first year,
college football playoff 2 or 3 occasions. I gotta look
second
back
year.
and see.
Sorry.
Do it now.
Ryan Day's second year. I'm sorry, second year he was there.
And then there have been times they've made it and they got beat in the first round. They have not been able to get over that hump. Ohio State's aspirations are not like any other aspirations known to man. All right. So what Bryant's doing right now in the state of Arkansas, Ohio State expects to do every single year because they're Ohio State. It's one of the top 3 jobs in the entire country, and they expect it to be like that. Bryant's won 6 of the last 7. Ohio State expects to do that too. And that's why I still think to this very day, and I could be wrong, but I think if he loses in the first round, they may go ahead and pull the trigger.
I thought the first year that he lost to Michigan, I actually picked Michigan win that game that year. I remember saying Michigan. I just had a feeling that Michigan was due to win that
Yeah,
game, and they did.
the only reason why I picked them to win that year too was for
Yeah,
the same exact reason you
yeah.
did. They were doing win.
hmm The next year, they go to Ohio State. They're it's a pretty even game. Fourth quarter, fourth quarter, Michigan starts to be out physical them. They start to be more fit. The more physical team, which was Michigan, started winning in the trenches. And it ended up being a blowout. Next year, same song as dance, except for it was a blowout, but Ron Day played a little bit more conservatively than he should have, and they lost. So the quarterback transfers, goes to Syracuse, ends up having a great year of Syracuse, leading the nation in passing yards, gets a new quarterback in, and has a terrible, terrible Michigan team. Very comparable to Oklahoma. I mean, because no quarterback at all. I mean, quarterback play. God bless the quarterback that led them in that drive for Michigan. I mean, he's a cancer survivor, actually. They were talking about that during the game. I mean, God bless him. Shout out to him. That was the biggest win in his life. I'm glad to see that for him.
Day when
However,
Ohio State, any day's a good day when Ohio State loses.
yeah.
By the way,
Well, I mean, but especially for him. But there's no reason that Michigan should have won that game. And again, Michigan proves to be the more physical team. Ryan Day tries to prove that we're physical too. We're going to play physical football. Ends up biting them, loses 13-10. Should have never happened. And in Ohio State's recruiting class in 2021, there was one recruit that ended up beating Michigan. That's Quinn Ewers, who is now the quarterback for Texas. He beat them this year. I mean,
Yep.
if you're Ohio State fans, it's like, oh my goodness, we had the quarterback that beat Michigan on our roster. And, he goes and transfers and he actually does that Texas. So I guess my point is, Ricky, I think he has to get to the championship game for sure. I will agree if it's a blowout in that championship game. Ooh, I don't think I want to go back to Columbus, but if it's a competitive game, I think he does get another year. But I'm telling you right now, if he loses to Tennessee or he loses to Oregon in the Rose Bowl, which that's where they would play in the Rose Bowl, the second round, he might not even get a flight home back to with Tennessee, he'll at least be at home, so he can start packing pretty quickly. But if he loses at the Rose Bowl, he might not get a flight back to Columbus, Ohio. So there's that. But yes, I think he's got to at least get to the final.
I think you are right about that. All right. So speaking of coaches being fired, the Coach Carousel has been going crazy. We'll get to Bill Belichick here in a second. I just want to mention some of these that have gone on. Chip Lindsey has accepted the offensive coordinator job at Michigan. He was the offensive coordinator under Mack Brown at North Carolina. Tulane and John Simraw are working toward finalizing a deal. I figured someone would try to go after him. Has he been there a while?
Well, he just left for Troy. He went to Tulane. He's so first-year coach there.
Okay, well, they're looking. Okay, for some reason, I thought he's been there for a while. Oh, wait, no, that's right. That Tulane coach left and went to, oh, gosh, where did he go?
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
Houston. Oh, gosh, he's probably regretting that now that Tulane's a much better program right now.
Army's rebuild it. It'll be fine.
Army's offensive line coach is being targeted by Central Michigan to take their head coaching job. Brian Harsin, who is the head coach at Auburn and Boise State, is looking to be the offensive coordinator at Cal. He'll probably be a good fit there too.
Yeah, that's his roots.
That's one thing. That's his root. That's probably going to be something. And then of course, we already know about Southern Miss. Marshall, you're stupid, by the way. Marshall has hired the North Carolina State defensive coordinator Tony Gibson as its head coach. Whoop-de-doo.
If he can keep the players, be a good hire. He's pretty darn good defensive coordinator.
And then for Tulsa, East Tennessee State's Trey Lamb. Please stay away, Trey. You do not want to go to Tulsa. And then, of course, UNLV, Purdue has picked up Barry Odom to be its head coach. And there's some more. There's some more that's going to be coming on probably within the next.
Sources saying that Rich Rodriguez is heading back to West Virginia, which that's interesting.
Hey, what's next? Houston Nutt coming back to Arkansas?
Why not?
I mean, you might as well. Why not?
I'll take it right now.
I think everybody would right now.
I would take the Houston Nutt. So Rich Rodriguez is apparently going back to West Virginia, so that's another one too.
Bill Belichick at North Carolina is probably one of the most hilarious things I think I've heard the entire day. It actually made my day, as terrible as the day was. It actually made my day whenever I heard this because it gave me a pretty good laugh whenever I saw this. Bill Belichick in college football, that would be like Taylor Swift trying to sing rap. It doesn't mix well. I hope maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to be wrong about this. I don't know. But I think now the reason why this could work is for the simple fact is the way that college football is going more toward a professional organization rather than
commented on that in the McAfee show.
Rather than just being amateur. And I didn't even heard the clip from Pat McAfee show or anything like that. But because I don't listen to Pat McAfee show that much. I don't have time for it.
It was a clip I listened to. That's how I found out.
And so yeah. So like I said, I think that'd be the only reason why this would work. But could you imagine, like you said earlier, could you imagine his press conferences with some of the
We're on a Clemson.
So what happened today, Coach? We got our butts kicked. We're just gonna, we try to run the football, and when yeah, we get the whole picture. I'm just saying in general, the great Bill Belichick impersonation. It'd be like Donald Trump. Well, we are still the best of the best of the.
We're the best.
When it comes to the offensive line, we're steadily recruiting. We're steadily recruiting. So yeah, but I'm just saying, like in general, though, that's the only way this thing could actually work. I don't think if you had this NIL thing, that he would even be considered for the job. But the fact that he's going to North Carolina is great because North Carolina hasn't won an ACC title in years. They're looking to
1980.
they're looking to overcome that hump. And I honestly think this would help North Carolina's recruiting quite a bit, just for the simple fact is you're going to have players who want to go to the NFL. And this is the
Mhm.
guy that you want to go to because he's going to be able to tell you firsthand, because he's one of the greatest to ever do it. You have the talent to go, or you don't have the talent to go. And he's going to be straightforward with this. This could be a good hire.
Yeah. You know what would make it really special if he hired his defensive coordinator from the Cleveland Browns days,
Was that?
Nick
Oh,
Saban.
Nick Saban, yes. I was about to say, wait a minute, hang on, wait a minute. I'm like, wait a minute, duh, duh.
Yeah, that would make it perfect right there.
Oh,
You
I
know,
love
have
it
Nick
for me.
Saban as a defensive coordinator. No, why not?
Nick's
Uh,
done, he's done. He's not coming back.
I know. I mean, I'm just playing it, joking around. Uh, I think this could be a good hire because number one, like you say, you know, if you want to be a recruit, know how to play in the NFL, what better coach to play under than Bill Belichick? You know, like, and North Carolina's been very close to winning the ACC championship game a couple of times. I mean, Mac Brown led them there. I think his first or second year. The coach before him, I can't think of his name, he led them to the championship game. Actually, had that controversial onside kick against Clemson that should have went his way, but anyway, you know, Butch Davis led them to the conference championship game too. So North Carolina's been there; they just haven't won it, and they've been close in those games too. Uh, Another thing is they play the ACC. The ACC is wide open. I mean, it's not the strongest conference per se. So he has a good chance to make an impact right away and to win right away. And you know, yeah, we make the joke, but it could be end up being a good hire. I mean, imagine the pep rallies. You know, these pep rallies. Well, you know, we're gonna go win the game. You know, we're gonna play Duke. Duke is a good team. We're gonna play them. Blah blah blah. We're gonna play Duke. You know. Anyway, I mean, he's gonna enjoy that. I mean, and plus he does have a 20-something-year-old girlfriend. I mean, he does have that as well. If he can recruit that, I mean, got a chance to recruit players. I mean,
I sent that to you yesterday, but there was something I saw. Maybe I saw it to you and I don't, but it was a picture. It said North Carolina's head coach with his girlfriend, and it was that picture from the scene with Big Daddy when the old man was
oh yeah, you
kissing the
sent me that.
girlfriend.
Yeah,
Oh, that was
yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
I'm like, oh gosh.
That is hilarious. Uh,
Anyways, but yeah,
I
I
will.
mean, like I
Give me
said,
good hire.
it could be it's a mismatch that could be made perfect. And I mean,
Imagine though, Ricky. Imagine if we got rid of Sam Pittman, we could have Belichick here at Arkansas.
no, that ain't gonna happen.
Well, I
Saban.
will say this about North Carolina too. Another thing they did agree to is they raised their NIL collective as well, the money too. So there's going to be more funds uh for Belichick to play with as well at North
Now,
Carolina.
now, there's something else I read. I'm not sure if it's 100% true or not, but they ever come. I wonder if they ever came to terms because I think one of the terms he wanted, I think it was his son that wanted to be the next successor.
I didn't hear that, but I think he wants him on the staff because he has been hanging around. He, a lot of people don't know this, but he's been around the Washington staff a lot this year, Washington Huskies. He's been around other different colleges, and he's got like a what they call like a college informants. I love how they phrased it, but college informants where he's got people that was sending him information when he was in the pros. So he's got a lot of college connections, according to sources. And of course, now I figure he's going to be fine building a staff, a really good staff. So I don't think that's going to be a big deal at all. So I mean that could be true. I mean, heck, if you're going to get Bill Belichick, you know he could just almost ask for anything. So I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, we'll like I said, we will see. We'll see what happens, and whatever happens, happens. So, all right. So, let's see here. I'm trying to remember if there's anything I missed. I don't think there was. I
Well,
think we.
again,
I
shout
think.
out to the basketball team. Shout out to also I would say shout out to the Tennessee Lady Volunteers. They're 8-0 for the first time, I think, since the Pat Summit year. So that it's good for women's college basketball for Tennessee to be good. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it really is, especially especially if you look back in the older days when it was Tennessee, Connecticut, and Baylor,
Yes.
and all them that were really good. And so, yeah, it
And
it definitely is.
and here's the crazy part. Falk, remember Falk, their press and 5 in,
Yeah,
5 out?
yeah.
That's what Tennessee does.
I wonder if they
Press
hired
all the
their.
time, 5 in, 5 out.
I wonder if they hired that coach. They should.
They
They probably.
they hired her from Marshall, and she's like 30 something years old. She's a young coach. Uh, so that's another thing. I mean, she's the youngest coach they hired since Pat Summit. So
Shout out to Nate's Wichita State. I think they're 8-1 now. I gotta look. I'd have to look up. See, I
yeah.
can't remember if they're 8-1 or 7-1 or whatever it is. So shout out to Nate. He's been sending me the scores. Wichita State might actually be able to compete a lot more this year. Though I think they've already won more games this year than what they did all year last year. I could be wrong on
Shout
that,
out
but
to
I know it's
Arkansas
close.
State.
Arkansas State beating Memphis. That's a huge win, and it was at Memphis. It
At
wasn't a neutral
Memphis.
site game. It was at Memphis, and yeah, they've got some talent. They have some really good talent up there right now, and so definitely a big shout out to that. I think that's all the shout out that I have at this moment. Yes, I think it very, very may be. All right, let's get to the bowl games. So what we're going to do today, um, if you want to join our Capital One Bowl Mania, we have a group with ESPN, and I have posted it on Facebook. You may join us through that, or you may even search it through Talking Sports in Interim Forest. It's free to play. If you guys just want to play just for the heck of it, that's fine. It doesn't matter who you pick because the NIL screwed everything up anyway. To where the transfer
Transfer
portal
portal.
is,
No.
yeah, transfer
Yeah.
portal and everything like that. So yeah, it's completely screwed up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and pick games that are starting, actually that are starting this week on the 14th, and we're going to go ahead and pick games all the way through next Thursday. Because we will have even though we will have another episode between now and then, the next episode that we post will be a week from Friday. I post them on Friday, so we're going to go ahead and get these picked. We're going to get these picked out. So the first bowl game, Brad, that we will pick between is the Cricket Celebration Bowl between Jackson State and South Carolina State. South Carolina State seems to always be in this thing too.
And Jackson State as well. Yeah. So, remember a few years ago, they had the punter that went beyond the line of scrimmage and ended up punting the football the other way. That's what they're most famous for. But they seem like they win this game all the time. So I'm going to go with South Carolina State because they seem like they win this game when they're in it. So until they lose, I'm picking South Carolina State.
Going Jackson State. I think Jackson State. I think they have a little bit more experience. I think they're a better team. But
Okay.
yeah, I do respect
Pick.
the pick though, because you and I both know this is going to be a close ball game. It always is. For some reason, it always is, and you are right. All right, so here we go.
One more game we didn't pick before that's not on here. Army Navy.
Oh yes, Army. Yeah, I'm picking Army. Army's just a good football team. I'm picking Army. It's gonna be
Yeah.
Army. Laugh all you want to. Army's a much better football team, and to me,
You didn't think they were better than Tulane?
had they beaten Notre Dame, I may have picked them to beat Tulane. Leave me
Oh my
alone.
goodness! That's why I say you don't pick the military academies against Notre Dame. They always have success against Notre Dame. Now in these bowl games, it's wide open, especially if they play teams like Missouri. That's 7-5.
First championship game.
So anyway, Army. I'm going with Army too, of course. So anyway, moving on.
All right. Next up, the IS4S. Speaking of veterans, salute to Veterans Bowl. South Alabama against Western Michigan. None of these teams have anything to do with the military. I'm picking South Alabama.
Yeah, I'm picking South Alabama too. Basically, virtually a home game for them as well. So yeah, South Alabama over Western Michigan.
Oh gosh, Scooters Coffee, Frisco Bowl. Have
I
you ever
could
had
go for
Scooters
some.
Coffee?
I love it. Yeah, I could go for some
I
Scooter's
love
coffee.
Scooter's coffee is really good. I love Seven Brew the most
We
though
got a
too. I
seven
don't know.
brew. We got a seven brew now in Hot Springs. They just recently opened, or they
I thought
recently.
I thought you were about to say you have one in the village, and I'm about to say would not surprise me if you did. But
Oh, I got well. Of course, that's gonna be one of my DAs, the police reports. That's gonna be fun.
oh, that's gonna be great too. Yeah, that's just gonna be great. Memphis against West Virginia. Give me Memphis. Even though I think I'm not sure how much they're gonna be affected by the transfer portal or anything like that. I still think Memphis is a much better team than West Virginia. This could be a joke of a matchup.
Yeah, West Virginia is gonna be with a interim coach anyway. They might not even have a roster. That might be like Arkansas. Yeah, I'll give you Memphis too.
All right, so these games are going to be played on Wednesday. Western Kentucky against James Madison. Both these teams, this could be a neck and neck game. This could actually be a very, very good game. This is the Boca Raton Bowl. I
Boca
will go
Raton.
Boca Raton. I don't care.
Raton.
Uh,
What?
I don't
Rat
care. I don't
Boca
care.
Rat.
I
Oh,
don't.
that's
Hey,
great.
listen. I
It's a
don't
beautiful
care.
area.
It's a crappy bowl. James Madison.
I would love to go to Boca Raton. I mean, I know it's a crappy bowl, but give me Boca Raton to go to. Yeah, give me James Madison too. But yeah, Boca Raton. I love it.
Boca Raton. Hey, I'm an Arkansas. Leave me alone. And it's okay. You're on my DA. You or sir on my DA list of the week too. By the
Of
way,
course.
I will let you know why later. So the next one is also on Wednesday. Art of Sport, LA Bowl. Goodness gracious, I swear to myself.
Art of Sport, LA Buff. I love it.
Yes, Cal against UNLV. The only reason I'm picking Cal is because Barry Odom's gone.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing too. This used to be the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, by the way.
And thank God it's not the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl anymore.
Man, hey man, yeah, I can't deal with Jimmy Kimmel anymore than I have to already. So anyway, yeah, I'll pick it, Cal too.
And then the only Thursday game, which is the 19th, the RNL, the R plus L, the RNL Carriers New Orleans
This is gonna
Bowl,
be a good matchup.
Georgia Southern against Sam Houston. Yes, it's going to be a very good matchup. And I wouldn't expect the rosters to really be, no tight up. Has Sam Houston ever won a bowl game?
I think no, because I don't think they've been to a bowl game. I think this is his first one at FBS.
I think you're right. I'm about to look this up because they were. I think you're right. I picked Sam Houston to win this game.
Yeah, I
Just
picked Sam.
a lot of it is because I want them to win. It's just if this is their first matchup, I want them to be able to have this first matchup.
And Sam Houston plays good defense too, so I do expect a low scoring game. Yeah, give me Sam Houston as well.
So Brad, something I just noticed, we're going to go ahead and do the Friday matchups as well because there's two of the games are early. So like one of them's at 11, the other's at 2:30, and then we will do the we'll do the playoff games next week. They're going to be later on, so hopefully we'll be able to get those in. Ohio against Jackson State. This is the Staff DNA Cure Bowl. The only reason I'm picking Ohio is for the simple fact is Rich Rod is gone, but I am rooting for Jackson State to win this game because I want them to get this bowl game.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Jackson State too, and they're the Conference USA champions. But I'm going with you too, Ohio over Jacksonville State, only because of Rich Rod being at West Virginia.
This will be one of my favorite bowl games, Brad. The
It'll be a
Union
good one.
Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl Tulane against Florida. Would not shock me if Tulane pulls it off, but I think Florida's a better team right now.
Yeah, Florida's my team right now. I don't think anybody in the country wants to play. I mean, if you had to see Florida on your schedule, I would be pretty, I would be pretty scared to play them right now because they're playing some really good football. Yeah, I'll pick Florida too, just because the same reason you said because they're playing how they're playing right now.
That's going to be it for the bowl games for now. We will do more bowl games next week as they come along, including the first round of the college football playoff, which will also start next week. All right, Brad, let's get the DAs of the week. I've got two.
Okay. Well, my first day of the week goes to your Dallas Cowboys.
Here we go.
For,
Here we go again.
For
Here we go
losing.
again. Okay,
For
listen.
Losing the most
okay,
Homer
stop,
Simpson way
stop,
possible.
Stop. Okay, so let's get something straight. Okay, no Jerry Jones, no Dallas Cowboys, no Joe Biden. Nothing political comes out of your mouth for DAs of the week. We get it. Listen, we knew Dallas was going to be horrible this year. Why do you have to always come here and rub it in my face?
How do you lose a game that only Leon Lett, who by the way was a Dallas Cowboy back in '93, he would be the only one that would touch the football after a block punt that goes forward. But the whole special teams should have been on the bench while the Bengals are recovering. But oh no, we have to touch it. And I can see it now in the cartoon version of the game. Homer Simpson's right there touching it. Doink! So first day of the week for the most Homer Simpson way to ever lose a game goes to the Dallas Cowboys. And this whole Simpson thing was a DA deal as well. So the whole thing.
My first DA of the week is going to go to the college football committee, not because of their pick. I thought they did a fairly good job with it's not their fault they had to say it the way they said it, but they did a very good job of getting the teams in. And I think they put the 12 teams in there. I think they put the best 12 teams in. All right, let's just put it that way. Apparently, Brad, someone leaked that SMU was going to get that 30 minutes before than they were supposed to. So now they're trying to figure out who did it, because according to the chairman of the committee, only very few people knew who was going that SMU was going to get that pick, and it was leaked. So like I said, could be some tossing, turning, some lawsuit coming on for too long, Brad, all over due to a college football playoff that SMU was going to get in over Alabama.
Hey, it might be Hunter Yurchek. But anyway, my second day of the week goes to.
Oh, yes, please be. Is Hunter Yurchek on the committee?
Yes, he is.
I did not know that.
That's another thing. When we get Arkansas ADs on the committee, all of a sudden they start stinking as Arkansas ADs. Because remember, Jeff Long was the director of the committee for a very long time. He got fired while he was on the. Anyway, my next day of the week goes to Luigi Mangione. The reason, of course, he is the guy that shot and killed the healthcare CEO. And here's the reason why he's my DA of the week. Why in the world do you get arrested at McDonald's? I mean, make it more memorable than that. You're eating. There's a video photo of him eating a dang hash brown in a corner, and there's a customer that spots this guy that also tells the manager to call 911 that this could be. So you couldn't make it like more memorable, like, have a high-speed chase or one things like that. No, you get caught at McDonald's literally eating a hash brown. So my second day of the week goes to this Luigi guy for how he got caught. I don't
care what people say. That's hilarious. Why would you get McDonald's of all places? Especially when you get to prison, it's like, oh man, I'd hide out for days. No, you got arrested at McDonald's, man. That's
eating a hash brown.
Eating a hash brown. Of all the things in the entire world that you could eat, you're eating a hash brown from McDonald's. Newsflash. Hash browns from McDonald's are not that great. And if you think they're great, God bless you. All right, let's just. Oh my goodness gracious! How many more you got?
I got a few more. So
go ahead and get rid of your few more, because I got to say this DA of the week for last.
So it's me, right? Your last one?
Yes.
All right. So my next DA of the week goes to the police report of the Hot Springs Village Voice. So let me read to you some of the police report. A resident in Barrett's Way reported the theft of $1,600 in cash and a ring while he was out of town. He suspects the cleaning lady who had access to the house while he was away. Now, let me get this straight. So this guy who lives on this says his cleaning lady probably. So if I'm reading this as the cleaning lady, did I go back to clean his house? Do I go back to clean this man's house if I'm the suspected cleaning lady of stealing $1,600? Well, I don't know. So that's another one. So let me read you another police report. Resident returned from their home from West Valeno Drive after a fire damaged the house reported that the front door was open and about $6,200 in jewelry was missing. The report noted that the fire department had made a forced entry to the home to try and rescue a resident and had secured all the doors and windows before leaving the scene. So why in the world you got $6,200 worth of jewelry laid out there?
Wait, they forgot it was there.
I feel like I'm living in a Twilight Zone sometimes, Ricky. So, and how these police reports
You're in Hot Springs Village. It is the Twilight Zone.
Well, the POA also had a resident that terrorized their one of their employees, so that's a DA right there.
That's
He
funny.
got arrested, so I guess he was mad about his property dues. So that's my third DA of the week. My last DA of the week. Oh, you want to go to your last DA of the week? You want to mention me?
Yeah, mine's gonna be last. Go ahead.
Okay, my last DA of the week goes to this Ohio senator who is making a bill. Get this, to make flag planting at Ohio State Stadium
Oh
a
Lord.
felony.
Yeah, let's make
You
that a
know,
felony. That's great.
I tell
Terrific.
you right, I tell you this right now. If I'm a taxpayer and I'm reading this story in Ohio, and this guy's a Republican too, just dumbass. I mean, my thing is, if I'm seeing this, I'm thinking my taxpayer dollars are being wasted for you to make legislation on flag planting at Ohio State. Just because Michigan, you know what you should be planning? You should be planning on how to pay out Ryan Day's contract. That's what you should be doing. You should be passing legislation saying Ryan Day, he doesn't make it through the playoffs. He's fired no matter what, because after all, they are a state institution. So again, this guy's a DA. Final DA goes to this idiot. By the way, the legislator's name is Josh Williams. He's a state rep from Ohio.
That was definitely great taxpayer dollars that are going ahead. So you are on my DA list, and according to your wife, you just made the DA Hall of Fame. So Brad, your wife messaged me this at 7:55 this evening while I was still in choir practice at church. I thought it was hilarious. I read it, still thought it was funny. So, Brad, my friend, you made the DA Hall of Fame because you were laughing at one of your own jokes in the shower. You slip and you caught yourself, and you hurt your back. And she's put again in big capital letters because this is the fourth freaking time he's caught himself instead of falling and hurts himself worse than what it would have been had he just fell. So
I'm the
either
one. Hey,
so
listen, I'm the guy that sings in the shower.
So I know that and the reason I know that is because I can
8
still hear it.
days a
I can
week.
still hear it all the way down.
8
I was
days
in
a week.
Wilson. Hang on. Let's see. No. I was at Cash Hall at the time that you were at Wilson with Aaron Hall, and I could hear you going all the way down the hallway. Like as soon
I
as
was with I was with Eric Owens at that. That's our first semester there.
I could have swore you were with Aaron Hall whenever I heard it because
I
was rooming with Joseph Davis at the time.
No, I was rooming with Eric Owens.
I could have swore you were with Aaron Hall.
No, I was
there. Swore you were because I came in there and Aaron just like shaking his head. I could have swore you were with Aaron Hall.
No, Charles got you, got Aaron. He got Aaron. He got you. Y'all came around. I think Charles started recording.
Well, Aaron shows this. Hopefully, Aaron still shows this to his students, and hopefully, he can confirm this with us. Even though I hadn't heard from him in 20 years.
No, I hadn't heard from him in 20. I think you were rooming with Aaron Hall that time.
I may have been, but I like that. But
right.
I could, from my memory, and like I said, it's vague because a lot's happened over the years. But I could have swore I was rooming with Joseph Davis at the time in Cash Hall, and I came down for a visit. I could hear you singing all the way down the hallway because I had work. I could have swore you were there in Hall that. But like I said, Aaron Hall, you will have to confirm this. Hopefully, Aaron's memory is better than mine and yours.
Well, I will say this: I was washing body paint off that. That's well.
I don't want to know the details, Brad. Come on, man. My kids are going to listen to this. Now they're going to be making jokes off of it. They're going to be making jokes off this. Now you're not going to be forced when you walk in. You're going to be the dude that was washing body paint off him.
Hey, at least I washed my body compared to the Syracuse coach.
Don't. No. There's no way that you could ever possibly defend yourself at this current moment in time. It's just best that we end the show. It's best that we end the show. It's best that we end the show and get out of here.
8 days a week.
No, Lord. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. You and I are the only ones in this entire podcast who listen to this podcast. Other than you and I are the only ones. Even the listeners of this podcast don't even know who sings that song, by the way, because it's so old.
Yeah, no. I mean, if you knew the history of the Beatles, you could get with
Everybody
Dr.
knows.
Ewing.
Yes, Dr. Ewing. That was Dr. Ewing. He was a Beatles genius when it came to that
Of
stuff.
course, of course. But yeah, in case you, but that's the thing. Your kids in 7th grade, they weren't born even when we were at Williams. I mean,
That's very true.
that
That is
makes us
very
old.
true.
So
It
that should
does
make
make
us
us
old.
old. It does make us old. My 7th graders are our daughter's age.
I know exactly. So the point is, this could be fond memories of sharing.
No, 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 absolutely not. And the fact that I know that you had body paint on while singing that song that makes it even worse. No, absolutely makes it worse. No, no, I can't take this. I can't take this no more. I swear I can't take it no more. I'm telling you, man. Oh gosh, can't take it.
Hey, we
Anyway,
were dressed for a basketball game, had body paint. I mean, we're trying to be fans.
yeah, you and Richie.
Richie, I think Jason was on that too, body paint fiasco.
Hey, man, I don't know.
I can't remember. I was part of body paint.
You
Yeah,
can't,
it's
you can't remember who your roommate was either. I could swore it was Aaron
Eric
Hall.
Owens. I'm serious. It was Eric. I
I could swore
remember.
it was Aaron. Could
No,
swore it was Aaron.
no, because Charles came in there first, and then he got Aaron and you to listen to me sing 8 days a week.
Uh,
While I'm washing body paint.
we're not mentioning that anymore, and you're still mentioning that. You know what? I'm done. I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. If you're dying laughing, I'm going to go ahead and say that you're saying, as long as the human race is in existence, there will always be DAs, including the one who's laughing about washing body paint off himself. I'm done. I'm getting off here.
Hey, at least I picked the right teams, like Army.
What's that got anything to with that? That has nothing to do with the conversation that we just had.
Where's the show?
It doesn't matter. Oh, we're gonna start. So what we're gonna start doing? Picking the best body paint people in college football? No, that's not gonna happen. Just like we're not gonna talk about hockey. We're not gonna talk about hockey.
We should watch.
I noticed your wife put a volleyball up here. We do talk about volleyball every now and then. Even the Arkansas volleyball team got out of the NCAA tournament.
And soccer too.
And soccer too. Yeah, I forgot about soccer.
And shout out to North Carolina. They won the national title over Wake Forest, and I think Arkansas made the Elite Eight actually in soccer.
I think you're right. I think they got. I can't remember who they got beat by though.
I think they got beat by Stanford or somebody.
Might have been Stanford. I think it was
Pretty
Stanford.
decent team. It's a decent team.
And then of course Harding, their run in. Ferris State beat the crap out of them.
And Ferris is probably the favorite to win it. I would say.
Probably out there. I would say too, especially now that a lot of the top teams are gone.
Yeah. But no, but they made a run. The division FCS playoffs has started as well. Right now, so that's going on too. So a lot of good football out there, even in the lower divisions. This week is
and you just reminded me. Shout out to Bismarck for making the state championship game. They will face Salem. I think Saturday night, if my memory is correct. I think it's Saturday night. And then shout out to Elkins and Arkadelphia for making the 4A. I think those are the only 2 games that are left, and then football season will fully be over for high school football, for high school sports.
And Arkadelphia, that's going to be a good game. The 4A
It should be
a good. Both games really should be good because Salem's sneaky good.
They're sneaky good. I didn't expect them to be. And here's the thing: northeast part of the state does not win state championships very often in football.
No, they don't. It has to be a special team for them to win state. I think one year when Wynn won, it was they had D'Angelo Williams. I think that's the last time they won the state title. If it was Wynn, I know they came close a few times, but they had D'Angelo Williams when they won the state title. So
I think you are right. All right, then. We covered everything and anything and everything is
including body paint.
No, stop. You know what? You're going back mute. I'm putting you on mute. You're on mute for the rest of the show. He is on mute the rest of the show. He cannot come off of mute unless I unmute him. Let him laugh all he wants to. He is back on mute. He is punished once again. What are you doing? Oh, now he's watch this. Close the whiteboard. Now you can't do anything about it. Close the white. Oh gosh, he did it again. Let's see what he put on here. Let's see what he's going to put on here. What are you doing? All it is dots, man. Let's see here. What are you doing? I don't even want to know what he's doing. He's trying to spell my name. Let's see if he can. Let's see if he spells my name right. That'd be awesome. So long until next time.